fry pan. I said I'll do a video for you how I'm going to make my ribs and what I'll be doing for you guys on a bigger scale when you come and visit. I'm actually doing a big smoke today. I've got beef ribs, that'll be going on later. I've got pork belly, which I'm making burnt end pork belly bits. They're gorgeous. And a small rack of pork ribs, which are actually going to be used as kind of like a starter. But let's crack on, show you how I make them. So we're just going to go through the prepping stage. These aren't actually going to go on for another half an hour or so. So first of all, let's take a look at the ribs. These have been bought from Nixon's farm. I think that's in Cheadle, and they do excellent ribs. I've bought them there a few times. Another good place is Wingip in town. So let's have a look at these ribs. So we've got a nice big fat layer there, which is great. They've already taken the membrane off, it looks like. Still a little bit left on there, so we're going to remove that membrane. I actually bought no tissue out on these. I'm going to have to do this the hard way. You want to get as much membrane off as possible because it stops the flavours from getting into the meat. Okay, so the way I prep these is I'm going to be using 2 seasonings on these ribs. I want to make these hot ribs. So we've got the Killer Hogs hot rub, and then I'm going to do a light seasoning just to bring out some of those flavours with the AP seasoning. So I've got 2 sides to the ribs. We've got the bone side and we've got the fat side. I mean, that is a lot of fat on those ribs. I'm not sure why they've left that much fat on, but I mean, so we get some English mustard. Any mustard will do. We put it on. It creates a binder on the meat. That's all it does. Mustard gives it a little bit of flavour. Leo, you get that mustard all the way around. Get the same on the other side. Okay. Oh, here you go. Mustard. Okay, you can see it. We're going to like this. You can see the visual. We're going to cut it. Okay, we're going to let that set for a few minutes, and we'll return soon to add the hot rub, and I'll show you how we put that on. Okay. Okay, so we've left that for a good 10 minutes. And I give it a little bit more of a trim whilst we're away. So I did say I was making hot ribs. This is the normal rub. This is the hot rub. So I've got about 2 years worth of that stuff that you sent me. So I'm going to go a bit, not mental with it, but I'm going to give it a good coat. So Leo, put you inside. People getting the electrics done next door. So give it a good pat down. I'm going to get the edges and everything. I know it looks like you're wasting quite a lot of it, but like I said, the amount you sent me is unbelievable. So you can't afford to lose a bit on the chopping board. And that binder should be working on the sides as well. So I'm going to pat that down. And again, I need to leave this now for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and that just gives it time to soak in and all those flavours bind to the meat nicely. When we come back, should have the pork belly sliced up into chunks, and I should have the beef as well ready to go. So it'll all be laid out dead neat and you'll see it, and then we'll go through how I actually put it on the smoker. Cheers guys. Okay, so the food is prepped. We've got the beef all nicely seasoned up. We have the ribs. They've been laid out for a little. You see how the moisture's really started to get that rub to soak into the ribs. And then we've got our burnt bits. These are going to be going on all at the same time. I'm going to get the beef on the lower rack and the pork on the top rack. So this is how we layer up our coals. At the moment we've got the coals heating up. Let's have a look. They're looking nice in there. So we're going to put our gloves on. We're going to put the hot coals on there, and this is so the heat goes across slowly and it creeps across the coals, and that way we can maintain a constant temperature. It's going to take about 20 minutes for this to heat up. Once it's heated up, I'll do another video of the meat on there, and then we'll see everything in about 2 hours. Chat. Okay, whilst we're waiting for the oven to heat up, aiming for about 200 to 225 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to show you how I prepare my smoking wood. Okay, so I'm using hickory smoking chips today. What I need to do is I've been soaking these for a few hours, get them nice and moist. We're not wanting them to burn, we're wanting them to smoke. So, what I first need to do is drain them. Okay. And then we need to lay them out on the coals so it smokes over time. It's going to be the same way we've done the coals, wanting to creep across slowly. So, get some tin foil. We put the soaked wood chips in the tin foil and we roll it up like a sausage. And that way when we lie it across the coals, it'll burn slowly along the wood. You can buy smoking metal tubes that you can put on your fire, or you can use something like a Coke can or a beer can. Okay, just going to use my Firma pen probe just to stab a few holes so we can get the smoke out of this thing. Okay, and that's just going to stay there until it's ready. My Firma probe we use for the beef. I've got another probe inside which I'm going to use for the pork. Probably going to be aiming for around 190 on the pork. The beef, I'm not quite decided how well I want it done yet. If we're going to go from the Firma pen, we'll go off the recommended temperature. And the recommended temperature is 4. Let's say well done, because these are ribs. I'll go for medium, 160. So they're going to cook a lot slower and a lot bigger, but I'll keep an eye on that temperature and make sure I don't overdo it. We've got 5 hours of these bad boys. Okay. Next video will be just me with the meat on, and then it will be about 2 hours where we'll show how we prep our meat in 2 hours. So we're going to be wrapping everything in tin foil, okay? Right, thanks. Okay, so our temperature's at around 200 now. It will creep up a little bit more as time goes on, but the coals have settled down now and we can try and get that temperature to even out. So we're going to put the vents on about a half and the top vent on half as well. Okay, so first of all, I need to think about where I'm going to be placing my meat. So, and that's not a euphemism. We're going to put the beef on the bottom shelf. It's going to take the longest to cook and it'll get a bit more direct heat. And it's fat side down to try and keep it from scorching the meat. So that's going to go on the bottom shelf. Okay. Next we're going to put the trade pork belly above it. That way we won't see any dripping on the beef. Not what we want. And then right next to that we'll go to the ribs. A little bit of a squeeze, but they go in nicely. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to show you this in a second. I'll pick it up and show you. So we're going to get this on the coals. So here we go. So the way we're going to do the coals, as you can see, it's already starting to make the fresh coals go white. So I'm just going to paste it on like that. And that way it'll creep across nice and slow. Okay, and just to show you what I've done inside here, we've got the beef resting on the bottom, we've got the pork belly bits at the top, and the ribs there. Okay, got my internal temperature gauge there. That's not quite going up to what I need it to be yet, but it will be there very soon. I'm going to keep an eye on that temperature. See you in about 2 hours. Okay, and we're back. So we're at the 2 hour point at the moment. We've got the ribs. They're starting to look like they're getting some good colour on them. They're exactly where we want them to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to now add some flavours to it. So I've got here, very simple, brown sugar and butter, and this will give it a really nice buttery flavour. It's still got plenty of flavours in the rub, so we don't need to go overboard. I'm just going to pour that over the top. You can brush this on if you want. I do have a brush inside, however there's no need, as it's all going to steam and spread the flavour on inside the tin foil. So the way I do my tin foil is I double wrap, and that just makes sure we keep all those flavours inside. If you're wondering why I've got so much tin foil like this, I've also got to do the pork belly bits, and I need to do the beef ribs as well. But we're just concentrating right now on how I make my pork ribs. Well, yeah, we give that a good wrap up, and now we put it back in the oven for another 2 hours. Okay, we're at the end of the cook pretty much now. So these have to go back on for about 45 minutes, but the cook is actually done. They've just got to sort of dry out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take them out, both ribs, and then we're going to put them back in. I won't do any more videos after this because there's no point. But I'll put some pictures on for the end of the video. But if you have a look at these ribs, these are cooked. Lovely ribs. Oh, and they're just flexing. Beautifully cooked. I'll send some pictures of the beef ribs later. Thanks, Aunty Pam. I look forward to making them for you. Okay, as promised, here's the pictures, Aunty Pam and Uncle Don. So that's the beef ribs when they were finished. Here are the pork ribs. They were very, very fatty, these pork ribs. I don't usually get them this fatty, but they still tasted amazing. Really, really good colour on them. Here is the beef ribs after we chowed down on them and got them all eaten up, and the pork belly bits. Thank you very much for sending all that over, Pam and Don. It's been great. Have a Merry Christmas, and we love you both. And have a Happy New Year.